Good morning, Facebook. So today I'm recording my 13th video. So it's day 13 of my mental health awareness challenge. I've missed a few days over the course of the period. However, I'm particularly excited because I'm now right in the middle of the 25-day challenge. And so one could say really that I'm on the home run. And that's really good news. Finding the appropriate thing to talk about for letter J was a bit of a challenge. Then I remembered jealous delusions. And delusions of jealousy or jealous delusions are quite something to talk about. And the reason is because recently we've been hearing about domestic violence. We've been hearing about an escalation of domestic violence and intimate partner based violence, particularly over the period of lockdown. And sometimes mental illness could be involved in that because one of the things that people underestimate in domestic abuse and domestic violence is actually the role of mental health problems. So today I'm going to be talking about delusions of jealousy or jealous delusions or delusional jealousy. And that this is as relating to mental health problems because it's a mental health condition. Just for by way of reminder, we do know, we will remember that I was nominated to go on this challenge by my friend Victoria Lawrence, and she herself was nominated by another friend. So, what's delusional jealousy or jealous delusions? It's actually a condition in which it's a mental condition, and it's one in which an intimate partner believes that the spouse is unfaithful. They either believe, usually with delusional jealousy, they believe that the partner is unfaithful. But there's also something very close to delusional jealousy, which is called um, jealous obsessions, obsessive jealousy. And that's the one in which they don't believe that the partner is unfaithful, but they are so consumed and so taken over by the fear or the threat that the partner might become unfaithful to the point in which that's then running their life and is ruining the relationship. And what are the symptoms and signs of delusional jealousy or obsessive jealousy? Usually, it's one in which the partner would begin to go out of their way to find evidence that their partner or their spouse is unfaithful. So they might monitor Facebook or other social media accounts. They might stalk the person. They might frequently call them to confirm that they are where they say they are. They might snoop on their phones. They might check their handbags or check their belongings. Even to some extent, sometimes you find that there are people who will check the intimate garments, the underwears of their partners and their spouses, just looking for signs that they've been unfaithful. They might check the marital bed, for instance, to confirm or to look for evidence that no other person has been there. And this can be very damaging to relationships because it can then, of course, it will impact on trust. And what then also happens is that sometimes violence is involved. And that's when violence can be involved. Now, we do know, for instance, that they say 55%, the statistic shows that about 55% of women who were murdered, who were murdered, in this situation, it was done by their spouses. So it's quite a high incidence, and it's something to really look out for. So, what are the causes of delusional jealousy or jealous delusions? They are commonly associated with other mental health problems. Schizophrenia is one of the leading associations, but in addition to that, anxiety disorders is also something that delusional jealousy is associated with. And when it boils down to, at the root of delusional jealousy, many times is a deep rooted sense of insecurity. I refer you to my video that I recorded yesterday on insecurities and mental health. So we've got anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, and of course there are certain personality disorders as well that are associated with delusional jealousy. Commonly among them are borderline personality disorder, as well as paranoid personality disorder. I'm hoping that over the course of the videos that I'll be able to explain more what some of these terms mean in terms of personality disorder and in terms of personality disorder. And also, the other thing to note about delusional jealousy is that it's commonly associated with alcohol misuse. In fact, one study shows that 35% of those who were misusing alcohol and who had an alcohol dependence problem actually admitted to being morbidly jealous in their relationships. So that's something to bear in mind as well. And it's also very deeply enmeshed in terms of people using alcohol, people using substances, domestic violence, domestic abuse. All of those things come in the same territory. They all come together. The important thing is that when one is present, it's important to then look for the others in the triangle, because usually if you look well enough, there's always something else present. So we do know that those are the common associations with delusional jealousy. We do also know that some brain injuries or brain conditions such as Parkinson's. Parkinson's, it's a fairly, in the elderly particularly, it's something that people see. And Parkinson's disease or Huntington's disease as well are also associated with delusional jealousy. The other thing to bear in mind is that apart from those who experience delusional jealousy, who suffer from this condition, apart from them having a tendency to be violent to their partners, the other thing that can also happen is that they can also turn the violence on themselves. So they might threaten to kill themselves. They might actually self-harm as an expression of their distress. So these are the symptoms that and signs to look out for that may actually let you know that this partner or this spouse actually needs professional psychiatric help. So what sort of help is available? The first thing, as I always say in all of my videos, in the UK over here, in the United States, and in the UK over here is the general practitioner that you go to first. In the United States and in Canada, it will be your family physician. In other parts of the world, I believe that you will know what system works in that part of the world. However, so getting help is the first thing to do. Usually, delusional jealousy is usually managed by secondary mental services. Those are specialist teams that have vast experience in managing people with mental difficulties. So all the options that are available include antipsychotic medication. What usually is done is that whatever is the cause of the delusion, whatever is the cause of the jealousy, if it's an anxiety disorder, then you treat the anxiety disorder. If it's a psychotic disorder, then you treat the psychosis. So antipsychotic medication, antidepressant medication are things that need to feature in the management. The other things would be individual therapies, couple therapy, family therapy, to help the person who is involved to actually address their insecurities and to help them to cognitive behavioral therapy also to help them to manage that behavior and to manage their thinking in terms of their relationship with their spouse. Sometimes, and it's important to say this, that sometimes inevitably the police need to be involved. If somebody feels that their life is at risk, it's always better to get the police involved. Sometimes as well, other agencies such as Women Refuge and people who support women who are experiencing violence or abuse need to be involved. And sometimes, as it may seem, geographical separation is one of the interventions that will be required in those type of relationships. And the way I see it is, it's better for there to be a separation between the two parties rather than somebody then permanently being separated from the world in terms of dying, losing their life as a result of the situation. So sometimes the reality is that geographical separation may also be part of the interventions that are required. So as I round up, I wanted to refer to something I said because I've used two terms. Jealousy is something that everybody really can relate to in terms of the meaning. But delusions are simply thoughts that are tenaciously held. They are held with a firm conviction despite contrary evidence to the contrary. People hold those thoughts and they believe that those thoughts are true, even though those thoughts are not in keeping with evidence and they are not in harmony with reality. So it's a false belief that somebody holds, that they tenaciously hold, and when evidence is produced, just like in this case, there's evidence produced to the person that their spouses are not unfaithful, but they still continue to believe that because of their mental illness. So I do hope that you found today's video helpful. Particularly, it's because we need to be on the lookout. We need to be a brother's keeper. We need to be a sister's keeper. Perhaps you might know somebody in your life, or maybe a friend, or somebody in your social circle, or maybe a work colleague who is either a victim on that is that they're on the receiving end of a spouse who is experiencing a delusional jealousy, or maybe they're perpetrators themselves. What you can do for them is to really help them to get help. So today is day 13, and thank you for listening. I'm looking forward to the 12 other videos. Have a good day.